While carrying out a mission to intercept a smuggled shipment of nuclear weapons bound for Miami, Red Hood infiltrates an enemy submarine. Without hesitation, he floods the vessel, ensuring that no one inside survives. As the water rushes in, Jason makes his escape through a breach in the sinking craft's hull. However, just as he's about to emerge, a massive explosion erupts from the submarine, sending shockwaves through the water. The force slams into him, knocking him unconscious and leaving him adrift in the ocean. When Jason finally regains awareness, he finds himself in an unfamiliar setting, hooked up to advanced medical devices unlike anything he has ever encountered. His vision blurs and his body feels heavy. Every attempt to remain conscious ends in failure, dragging him back into deep, dreamless sleep. Days pass as he recovers, unaware that he is being closely observed by the stunningly beautiful Princess Coriander of Tamarin. As she watches over him, a strange sense of familiarity washes over her. His dark hair, the structure of his face, it all reminds her of another man from her past. Memories of her time with a former lover, someone she once cherished, surface briefly. However, she quickly realizes that this is not the same person, though the resemblance stirs emotions she thought were long buried. Jason finally awakens in a sudden jolt, his instincts kicking in as he reaches for a weapon. Finding a gun within reach, he swiftly points it at Starfire's head, demanding answers. However, his confusion intensifies when he realizes that he's not wearing his pants. Before he can act further, his strength fails him and his body betrays him once more. He stumbles, his energy rapidly draining away. Coriander remains calm, unimpressed by his hostility. She warns him to rest, and to drive the point home, she lets her natural body heat surge slightly, melting the muzzle of his gun as a demonstration of her power. That night, as Jason drifts into sleep once more, his subconscious pulls him back to memories of his training with Nightwing. He recalls the countless lessons that Dick had tried to instill in him, especially patience, a virtue that had always frustrated him. The thought of being measured against Dick, always seen as Batman's successor in ways Jason never was, gnaws at him even in his dreams. Their rivalry, his resentment, and the lingering bitterness over his past failures haunt him in the depths of his mind. The next day, Jason regains enough strength to explore his surroundings. He stumbles upon a massive, abandoned spaceship, its alien technology still functional in places. Inside, he finds Starfire waiting for him, standing amidst the wreckage as if she belongs there. His keen detective instincts immediately kick in. He begins rattling off observations, analyzing everything about her with rapid deductions. His words come quickly, too quickly, and soon enough, Coriander grows irritated. He notices the change in her expression and quickly backtracks, offering an apology for his intensity. In response, she finally offers him proper clothing. Leading him to a storage room, she gestures toward what she refers to as male clothing. However, Jason's stomach twists as he lays eyes on the garments. The only clothes available are old uniforms, ones unmistakably belonging to Dick Grayson. The sight of them stirs something deep within him, a mixture of anger and painful nostalgia. He remembers his own journey, the moment he stood face to face with Batman, ready to take his revenge, only for Nightwing to intervene. That interference had cost him his moment, his justice. And now, here he was, surrounded by relics of the very man he had spent so much time resenting. Starfire, sensing his unease, explains that while she does not recall every detail of the man who once wore those uniforms, she knows that he was important to her. He was kind to her when she first arrived on Earth. Jason listens, absorbing the weight of her words. She loved Dick just as much as Jason had hated him. The realization is sobering. But Coriander makes it clear, she does not define herself by the men who have come and gone in her life. She does not dwell on the past or cling to the meaning behind old clothes. Taking a deep breath, Jason reluctantly reaches for one of the uniforms and puts it on. Later, Jason finds himself engrossed in the advanced technology aboard Coriander's ship. He examines the weaponry, his mind racing with the possibilities. The sheer firepower at his disposal is unlike anything he has ever had access to before. With this, his war on crime could be redefined. But as he entertains thoughts of unleashing destruction upon his enemies, a creeping unease settles over him. He thinks of Dukra's teachings, of the path he was meant to walk. Had he strayed too far? Determined to clear his head, Jason steps outside onto the beach. He finds Starfire there, preparing to enter the water. He calls out to her, saying that there is something important they need to discuss. Before he can finish his sentence, she surprises him, leaning in and pressing her lips against his. The unexpected kiss leaves him momentarily stunned. Amused by his reaction, she explains that among her people, Kissing is one of the ways they assimilate language and knowledge. He brushes off his initial confusion and takes the opportunity to share his story with her. He tells her everything: his time as Batman's second Robin, his connection to Nightwing, his years of training with the All-Cast. He opens up in a way he rarely does. Coriander listens intently, her expression calm and understanding. After a moment, she shares something of her own people's philosophy. Tamaranians value the past, but they do not live in it. They embrace the present moment, for it is the only thing that truly matters. Jason considers her words. They hold a wisdom he had never allowed himself to embrace. Coriander then adds one more thought. While the heat within her body is a natural part of her being, the fire that burns within Jason, the rage that fuels him, is different. If he is not careful, it will consume him entirely. For the first time in a long while, Jason allows himself to be vulnerable. He steps forward and wraps his arms around her, silently acknowledging the truth in her words. In that moment, on a secluded island far from Gotham, he begins to understand that his war is far from over. But perhaps for the first time he has a choice in how he fights it. That's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I see you in the next video.